I'll be speaking on balancing a hip in dysplasia, especially CROWE type 4. And, it's a difficult preposition altogether with the different, soft tissue balancing techniques to be applied. I'll be considering the acetabulum and femoral reconstructions separately. We know that we have an acetabular hypoplasia, which is the acetabulum is shallow, anteverted, and anterior superiorly deficient. We have an abdominal abductors. You can see them going right towards the upper side as compared to the horizontal in a normal hip. We have a hourglass contraction of capsule, and we have a hypoplastic acetabulum or a pseudoacetabulum formation in some patients. We need to identify the true acetabulum. I usually use the posterior approach. I usually follow the capsule, the inferior capsule, and reach the tal. I insinuate a finger into the capsule and follow the ligamentum teres or the round ligament to know the exact location of the true acetabulum. So there is a different philosophy where some reconstruct it anatomically, some use a high hip center. I usually do it in the anatomical way, which gives you the best bone available. It restores the length of abductors, restores the biomechanics, and obviously you might need a reduction of osteotomy to bring the hip down so low. And it's very useful in CROWE type 4B, which do not have a pseudoacetabulum and the head is not articulating anywhere. The high hip center on the other head, on the other side is easy. You need less releases, no osteotomy is required. A high dislocation and where it has been reported, which is the downside, and delayed recovery of abductors and decreased motion, especially internal rotation flexion, have been seen with the high hip center. So considering the best bone to place these cups, this study by Zeng et al. Has shown that from 20 millimeters to 50 millimeters from the inferior teardrop line, that's the best bone where you get for placement of the cup. And peak bone stock values reach 41 millimeter, 47 millimeter, and 55 millimeter in type 1, 2, 3 dysplasia. So you can see even the type 4 needs to be brought to this level to put in the cup, which is where the best bone is available. If you go beyond 25 millimeters, the implant survival is, affected. You have more dislocations. The recovery of abductors is incomplete, and you might have impingement in the range of motion. So usually you start trimming in the posterior superior direction. Try and put your cup in 40 degrees abduction and 25 degrees of anteversion, and try and get a combined anteversion of almost 40-50 degrees. You must have 70% cup bone contact in an uncemented, the bantam cups usually, which we are using. If needed, you might use cortiloplasty, which is actually the iatrogenic medial protusio creation of reaming medially, so that you can get better cup coverage. And if needed, if the coverage is less than 70%, you might need to use inlay bone graft. Inlay bone graft is recommended. You have to put 2 screws at least towards the sacroiliac joint in direction of the joint reaction forces so that they don't fail. Horizontal screws usually tend to fail and the graft does not incorporate. On the femoral side, you have to have a consideration of increased neck anteversion, high riding trochanter, hypoplastic femoral canal, and a labelant discrepancy. So you will need a modular stem if the anteversion is inherently more than 25 degrees. And CROWE type 4 usually require a femoral shortening if the limb length discrepancy is more than 4 centimeters. This interesting article by Wu et al. Has shown the soft tissue releases in a dysplastic hip, where they release the adductors, IT band, the gluteal maxis initially, followed by iliopsoas, rectus femoris, and sartorius, and the piriformis and hamstrings. I usually release the external rotators and the piriformis initially, followed by gluteus max, and the adductor. The adductor tenotomy can be done preemptively, followed by iliopsoas and rectus and sartorius, and so on. If still you are not able to get the hip down, remove the tenting osteophyte, recess the abductors. You can recess the abductors from the iliac wing inferiorly, and also do some pike crusting so that not to hamper the vascularity of the abductors. If still you are not able to get it back, you prepare the stem as you're doing in the routine using S-ROM modular stem, and then go for a femoral osteotomy with the shortening. So this slide from Callaghan shows you that once you have reconstructed the acetabulum, you try and pull the limb down and calculate the distance from the center of the femoral head to the center of the acetabulum, which has been reconstructed. That is the amount of bone you actually need to resect on the osteotomy. It's your choice whether you go for a step cut, a transverse, oblique, a chevron, or a sigmoid osteotomy. I usually go for the transverse osteotomy. And this is the intra-operative pictures showing the same steps, that the abductors have been released and the center has been brought down. The overlapping part of the osteotomy has been marked, and the bone segment has been resected. This is an interesting case. One of the patients, 20-year female, she had shortening and a high dislocation, and she has been reconstructed using the same technique, identifying the true acetabulum, doing the femoral shortening osteotomy, and using a modular stem. Another patient where you can see there is shortening adductor contracture. I did a preemptive adductor tenotomy in this patient. I had to do a lot of releases, ultimately used a small bantam cup and prepared for the femoral stem, the SROM sleeve. Did the same, brought the hip into the center of rotation, did the overlapping, calculated the osteotomy size, removed the segment of bone, checked the placement in the C-arm, and ultimately reconstructed these using a modular stem. So if you see intraoperatively, you can also see, the hip is totally stable in all range of motion, and that is what you need to achieve. Make sure you have aligned the osteotomy at the correct rotation. Some people also tend to derotate and correct the anteversion if they are not using the modular stems like the SROM. That is helpful. If your osteotomy is not stable, you can use bone graft and cables or a derotation plate, which I usually use. Another case, interesting case of a 26-year female. She had a proximal femoral focal deficiency with a shortened limb. Very interesting female. She came all the way from Iraq, and you can see the thigh is too short. The knee is ending at the leg is ending at the other knee. So this was also a very interesting case, which I did, and I was able to get it back to the original center of rotation. And this is how the patient has been moving. The acetabulum was reconstructed, the femoral stem was prepared, and because of the overriding trochanter, I had to correct it. I had to use a lateral closing wedge and then stabilize it with a plate. And the patient has been doing well since then. So the take-home message would be uncemented cups do well in dysplastic type 4. Graft is used only if more than 30% of cup is uncovered. Anatomic hip center is the acceptable gold standard according to me and the literature. And using a modular stem is mandatory if the anteversion more than 25 degrees. Shortening is recommended for a limb-length discrepancy more than 4 centimeters. Thank you, and the discussion is open.